Ducci, and you are watching Gov's Radio. This is where you go if you want to see something or if you want to hear something funny. Coming up in just a couple minutes, this is a joke I told. What? I'm not on Gov Radio? Call the police. Call my agent.
Tony, welcome to Go.
Hey, Joe, how are you?
I gotta pat you down though, pal.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Got anything on you? Anything I should know?
I got nothing.
Anything weird going on?
What?
Alright, you go in, Tony.
Good. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Tom Kelly of The Tom Kelly Show. Yes, this is not the only time I've gotten on my knees in the back room of a comedy club.
The Knockem Dead Comedy Radio Show is also brought to you by Two Eagles Auto Body. For more than 25 years, Two Eagles Auto Body has been the leader in auto body repairs and customer satisfaction on Long Island. Two Eagles Auto Body handles every type of auto repair from custom applications and restorations to repairs involving insurance claims. Give Two Eagles Auto Body a call and please ask for John Rossi at 516-328-2527. That's 516-328-2527.
Hey, how do you say there, people? It's Johnny Brennan, creator of the Jerky Boys, also of Fox TV's Family Guy fame. I just want to let you know you're listening to Tony on the Knockem Dead radio show. They're gonna keep knocking them dead, so keep listening, you wacky sons of bitch. Right there. Over and out there, sweet Charlie.
Long time no see, man. Hey, man, I miss you guys, man, at Knockem Dead Comedy Radio.
Hey Tony, you're not funny, and you probably shit yourself a lot, and you're no fun to be with, and you don't make that much money, and you're not going anywhere in show business, and I hope you get hit by a bus.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It is Thursday. Excuse me. It is Thursday. Welcome to the Knockem Date Comedy Show. What'd you say?
Wednesday.
What did I say?
Thursday.
I said Thursday. See, that's why Mike is here. Hi, everybody. It's Wednesday. It's John Lennon's birthday. Happy birthday to John Lennon, although he's been dead longer than he's been here. Welcome, everybody, to the Knockem Date Comedy Show, coming at you live from the legendary Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown. Gov's Comedy Club Podcast is the name of the Facebook page, name of the YouTube channel. If you're hanging out on Facebook, we appreciate it, and we ask that you follow the page. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, please hit the thumbs up and all that good stuff. And please, no matter where you're watching from, please share the show to all your social medias. Tell everybody you know about all the great shows here on Gov's Comedy Club Podcast. And if you're watching on Facebook, you can stay there all you want, and we appreciate it. However, if you want to join in on the conversation today, you want to hear your name said, you want to hear your comments read, you just want to join in, well, please switch over to YouTube because that is where we monitor the comments. And the phone lines are open. You see the phone number is right here above my head. So there you go. So the phone lines are open as well. What's the matter? You looking for it?
Yeah.
The Knockem Date Comedy Show. We're coming at you live from the legendary Governor's Comedy Club. And speaking of legends, I have two legends here with me today. Michael Kaplan, not so much a legend. But over there, ladies and gentlemen, Peter Schwartz is here, ladies and gentlemen. Peter Schwartz is here.
I'm giving myself a clap. That's kind of stupid.
That's all right. FAN. What's the other one? 880 is that?
Well, 880 is now ESPN Radio. So,
right.
Yeah. So I used to be doing sports on 880 WCBS. May it rest in peace.
Yes.
But I've been on 1010 Wins, WABC. I mean, if there's a radio station of any consequence in New York, ESPN Radio, I've been there, and very happy to be here today because we got a pretty good announcement coming.
Yes, we certainly do. Let's get right into it. Go ahead.
So for the little over the last year, I've been doing a show called Sports Bash on LI News Radio, 103.9 with Vinny Tickets.
Yep.
And we are bringing that show here to Governor's Comedy Club starting next Thursday. We're going to be on every Tuesday, Thursday. You're not letting us in on Tuesday for next week, so we're going to start on Thursday. But then every Tuesday and Thursday for the most part. There'll be some exceptions, but Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 o'clock, a 1-hour show. We have a blast doing that program. We get great guests, and we look forward to interacting with the fans and with poll questions and trivia and things like that.
Nice.
So we're really, really excited to bring our show here next week and looking forward to a great long relationship and making the show a big hit over here.
There it is. There's the Sports Bash logo right up there between you and Mike up there. Vinny Tickets has done shows in here with us before where he's promoting his Ticket Bash. Very excited about this. This is going to be great. I am working on getting backups so that if I can't be here, then at least the shows can still happen.
Well, maybe you could just teach me. It doesn't look that difficult. Maybe you could teach me how to do that.
There's a lot.
There's a lot going on there.
It's all once the show starts. I mean, other than if I'm showing a video or graphic or something, it's not so bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of pre-show. I could probably, if you really do you have a little?
I prefer to just stay right here. But I
don't blame you.
I have run boards before. Back when I was in college and I was an intern at WFAN. When I came home in between semesters, they trained me how to run the board there. So actually, when I was home December and January, there were a few FAN shows that I ran the board for. But I'd much prefer to be over here. But in an emergency, it would always be good to know how to use that.
Absolutely, yeah. And again, that's
knowledge is good.
And there's a huge lack of that in this room. I don't mean right now, but normally, especially on Wednesdays. Yeah. John Rusiello is watching. He says, "Good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, gentlemen, and you too, Michael." And he says, "Look at those Mets." Yeah, we'll get to that in a few minutes. Ann Rothney, hello, Tony, Michael, and Peter. Good morning, everyone. Ann is watching from California.
Okay.
Oh.
Yep, very nice. And then, of course, John is now flirting with her. Okay. So give us an idea. Who are some of the guests you guys have had on that show?
So, I mean, we've had a laundry list of incredible people that have joined us. You know, Marty Lyons Foundation is a big sponsor of the show.
Nice.
They're our official charity. So
what
we've
nice
had
guy.
Marty on a couple of times. We've done a live show from his golf outing.
Yeah.
So we've had him on the show. We've had Anders Lee from the Islanders has been a guest on the show. Matt Martin as well. We've had Susan Waldman on the show. We've had Keith Rad, the Mets broadcaster. Sean Nealis, who plays for the New York Red Bulls, is from Long Island. We've had him on the show. We went out to the Super Bowl in February.
Really?
We did shows from Radio Row, and the voice of Patrick on SpongeBob was probably the most memorable. It was so hysterical to hear him. Like, can you break down the Super Bowl as SpongeBob, as Patrick from SpongeBob? And it was hysterical.
Wow. Which is a great sports connection because he was on Coach.
Yes. And you know what?
I forget his name, but I know.
It bothers me to this moment. We're there. A lady comes over to our table, and she's got a list because there was a list of the layout of every radio station that was at Radio Row. That's how they do it at the Super Bowl.
Okay.
We did not have a table reserved. We flew by the seat of our pants. We were hoping that there would be, because I've been to Super Bowls before.
Yeah.
And there have been some scattered empty tables that aren't claimed, right? So I get there. We were there for 3 days during Radio Row. And I get there the first day, and I go in all the way in the back. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning, Vegas time. And I'm like, let's see if I can find a table that looks like it hasn't been used. And I found one. We set up our stuff there. That's where we wound up being for 3 days. Not our table, just one that we found and nobody was using. So one of the days, this lady comes over. She's got a list in her hand and a chart. She's looking for a specific outlet. And I said, because we were just taping shows and then sending them to New York for them to post on our YouTube page.
Okay.
So I said, are you looking for someone? Yeah, I have a guest that I'm trying to book, but I don't think you guys will be interested in it. And I said, well, try it. So we're a sports talk show from New York. I'm with like Nickelodeon, and it's about, SpongeBob. And I'm like, I'll take it. I'll take it. Yeah. The voice of Patrick. And it never resonated with me that was the guy who played Dauber on Coach.
Right.
We had him on, and I didn't realize it until after. I'm like, stupid me. I could have asked him. I loved Coach. What a great show that was.
Show.
And it never hit me that it was the same guy that was Dauber on Coach. But we've had Brian Baldinger, who's a Long Island native and now with the NFL Network. He's been a guest. Do you guys know Rich Big Daddy Salgado, who's like a big insurance agent for sports stars? He has this big firm. Well, very, very, very convincing there. But he's a big shot when it comes to like NFL circles. We've had him. We broadcast from his golf outing as well. So we've had a bunch of big names, writers, broadcasters, players, coaches. The new coach at Stony Brook football, Billy Kosh, was on the show. We just had Speedy Claxton on to talk about Hofstra is going to be playing a game at the Coliseum in November actually. So I'm really, really excited, and I'm going to open up my Rolodex a little bit more once we get to 1 o'clock next Thursday, because there's a whole West Coast of people that I can bring onto the show, and to be able to have the Zoom capability, because usually we just had guests, either they schlepped out to Ronkonkoma to come to the show, or we had them on the phone. I'm pumped up because I think a lot of people are going to want to come visit the studio, and we've got the Zoom capabilities to get more guests on.
And I'll make this even better. So with the Zoom capability, if it's somebody on West Coast or has a scheduling issue, we can always figure out a time to record it and then play it maybe during your show. So we can always do that too.
And I cover the Islanders I do Islanders content for WFAN's website, WFAN.com, but I also have an Islanders podcast, the Double Chili Islanders podcast. So there's going to be days where I'm going to be at Northwell Health Ice Center watching Islanders practice.
Okay.
And what I'll do is I'll interview players after practice. I'll bring them right in. I'll get them to you, and we'll play them on the show that day.
Perfect.
How about that?
Yep.
So we're going to have a lot of fun, but I want to make sure that if you're a big sports fan in the area, that it's just a place for people to come and talk sports. We're going to have fun. I love music. There's 3 things you will find out about me, about 3 things I love when I do the show. Obviously, 1 is my family and friends. Number 2 is sports. Number 3 is music.
Really?
And I love to integrate music into the show, coming to and from breaks. So
You're talking to the right guy, man.
I love Billy Joel and Bruce, and
Mike is a huge Bruce guy.
Yeah, so I am a big proponent of using music, and not just welcome back to Sports Bash. I like to talk about the song that I'm playing.
Nice.
Use the Benny Hill music. I'm talking about the Jets this morning on the show. Like, I came back from commercial using the Benny Hill thing. Like, what more perfect song could you possibly use to encapsulate what the Jets are all about right now than the theme from Benny Hill?
Well, All right. Well, all right. So, yeah, you must be thrilled then that they fired the coach.
Well, yes, because he was a horrible head coach.
Yeah. 20 and 36.
And I was a lifelong Jets fan, so all I've had is agita in my life watching this team. I was a year and a half old when Joe Namath did this, right?
Right.
So, and stupid me, my father was a Giants fan.
Oh.
My father was a Giants fan, but he made the mistake. My uncle calls him up one day and says, this is 1977. I got 2 tickets for the Jets game on Sunday at Shea against the Bills. Do you want to take Peter? He goes, yeah. He asked me if I want to go. I said, sure. Yeah. And my dad's a diehard Giants fan. Think about it. I could have had 4 Super Bowl championships in my lifetime. Yeah. He takes me to Shea on a freaking freezing cold day in December of 77. And I loved it. I'm like, the grass. Shea was a dump, but it was our dump.
Absolutely
they had the big
right.
Jet banner up covering the Met banner on the big scoreboard.
Yep.
And I fell in love with the Jets. And stupid me, I became a Jet fan. And all the agita. My dad is enjoying, Super Bowls, and I got nothing.
Well,
I got nothing.
Yeah, but you make up for it as a Yankee fan.
I do make up, and I was an Islander fan, so I got the 4 Stanley Cups down the road over here.
Yeah.
But they could have gone a little bit more with it. I mean, they could have fired the offensive coordinator too.
Absolutely.
I mean, they brought all these guys back because Aaron Rodgers got hurt 4 plays into last season.
Right.
So I guess they felt obligated to bring everything back and roll back everything again. And it's not working. The offense looks stagnant. Yeah. But Woody Johnson, who is one of the worst owners, maybe the worst owner, he knows nothing what he's doing. He's the reason why Bill Belichick walked out the door, because they knew he was going to buy the team in 99, 2000.
Yep.
And he walked out the door. We could have had him, but he went to New England and caused me problems for decades, right?
Yeah.
So Woody's the big problem because he likes these shotgun marriages. He'll go out to dinner with a general manager candidate and a head coaching candidate, and let's see if we can put these two. It's like you go into a matchmaker, right? You put 2 people together and hope that the marriage works. Most of those shotgun marriages don't work. Really, it doesn't, and it certainly doesn't work in football. So that's how he does it, which is you're supposed to hire the GM, let the GM hire the coach, and the coach hire the assistants, right? That's how it's supposed to work.
Right.
Even a company, if you own a company, a Fortune 500 company, right? You hire a CEO, let the CEO hire the department heads, the department heads hire the people that work for them.
Right.
That's not how the Jets operate. So they're afraid to fire the offensive coordinator because they're going to piss off Aaron Rodgers. What's Aaron Rodgers going to do? Walk out the door? He's not going to collect his paycheck?
Right.
So while Robert Saleh was a horrible head coach and deserved to be let go, I don't think they went far enough, and really the timing shocked everybody 5 games into the season.
Right.
They don't want to punt on the season, but I think there's more changes that have to come.
Do you think they're going to? Do you think it's going to be a bad year?
Well, I mean, 2-3 is not great
It's
right
not
now.
great, but
Actually, I mean, think about how as bad as it's been offensively, and the defense had a terrible first game in San Francisco. They could easily be 4-1 right now. They should have beaten Denver at home.
Right.
Zerline's a dependable kicker, missed a 50-yarder at the end of the game, would have won it. And they were in position to win the game last week in London against Minnesota. By the way, don't get me started on these games in London.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm
with you too.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that we give other countries real games, and we get soccer. I like soccer too. I'm a pretty big soccer fan. I like the Red Bulls and everything, but we'll get Manchester United against Liverpool at Yankee Stadium with the B and C teams on their friendly American tour, but we're giving London like real NFL games that count in the standings. Mm-hmm. So why can't we get?
I didn't know the soccer game was the B team. I didn't know that.
They're not real games. They'll sell out MetLife Stadium for Liverpool and Manchester United, Manchester City, whatever, and these people, 80,000 people, come and see the B teams. They're not real games. It's an exhibition tour.
I did not
but
know
we're
that.
giving
games.
But Tony, we're giving them our real games. The Devils just went to where did they do? Prague.
Did they?
And started 2 games with Buffalo. We're giving them real games, and we're getting the crap in return. We're getting friendlies with the being. You're lucky if the star player comes on with 20 minutes to go as a substitute.
Wow.
And the other part of the London thing I don't like is a few years ago the Jets played the Falcons.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm watching the game in London. We wake up early Sunday morning, watching the game with my family, and I have chest pains. Literally sweating, and my wife has to call 911. and rushed me to the hospital because while we're watching the game, I'm having like massive like chest pains.
Yeah.
And I figured, well, this is great. I always knew the Jets would put me in the hospital. Right, and it turns out it was a scare, but I didn't have a heart attack or anything.
Goodness.
So it was another reason not to like London games because I was watching the Jets play a game in London, and I'm sitting in the hospital watching the fourth quarter.
Wow.
Well, I mean, but at least if you're going to be in the hospital, you had that to distract you.
Well, the
That's
doctor
how I
came in and
would-
goes, "How you feeling?" I don't know. The Jets are still losing the game. That's
Yeah,
why
right.
I'm here.
Wow.
So
I was in the hospital with kidney stones once, and Sal, my friend Sal, he brought me Carvel. I totally felt better after that. True story. So, and it's funny, all right, let me go back. How many Super Bowls have you been to?
I have been to now. Well, we didn't stay for the game. We only went for Radio Row. But
Okay.
I've been to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've been to 8 Super Bowls.
Lucky son
8
of a
Super
bitch.
Bowl games.
Wow.
That's incredible.
incredible.
I mean, I'd be happy just to go to
It
one,
is.
man.
It
Just-
Me
is.
too.
I will say I have never seen my team in the Super Bowl, but it is without question the single greatest sporting event that you can be a part of, even if you have no rooting interest. I was
Right.
there, and when I covered the Jets for WFAN for 3 years, 2010, 11, and 12, one of the fringe benefits of covering the Jets back then for the station was that I got to go to the Super Bowl and cover one of the two teams. They had two of us went. They sent Boomer and Carton at the time or whoever, and Mike and the Mad Dog, it's Mike Francesa, to do their shows from Radio Row. But they would have two of us cover a team, the two teams the whole week, and that was phenomenal to be able to do that. But I've been to 8 of them. I went to 2 as a fan, and then the other ones I covered. The first one I ever went to was the Giants Broncos.
Really?
Super Bowl 21
Wow.
at the Rose Bowl. Have you ever been to the Rose Bowl?
No.
As a child, I'm from L.A.
You're from LA.
I'm from
So
LA.
Pat, first of all, it's the visual of sitting in that stadium, and I so badly want to go back and see a college football game and go see a UCLA
Yeah.
game there. But I remember going, and my uncle's company ran an ad in the Super Bowl program. He used to work for Seagram's.
Okay.
And so they had an ad, so that's how we got the tickets. And I was in college in Buffalo, and I flew to LA for the game.
Nice.
To sit there and see like the hills behind the Rose Bowl.
Yep.
And there's like no parking there. You parked on a golf course. Like where do we park? Oh, yeah, park on the golf course. And it was just an incredible atmosphere to be like. You literally, it is an event that gives you goosebumps no matter
I
what.
bet.
The
Yeah.
Rose Bowl is an amazing place.
But just all the Super Bowls I've been to have been memorable in different ways. I was at the Ravens 49ers Super Bowl in New Orleans at the Superdome when the lights went out.
Oh, right.
yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
So wait, this is great. I'm trying to get a hold. My family is back home watching the game on TV, right? And it was impossible to get a sellout. Like I'm sitting there, they put us. If you're not one of the primary members of the media, you sit in like an auxiliary press area,
Okay.
which they would put like in a corner of the upper deck. Like that's where they put like one table over one row, so you'd have a table to sit at, right? I'm sitting there the whole first half, and I'm trying to get a sellout, and I can't get my wife on the phone. Wasn't working. Finally, in the third quarter, after Beyonce performed and everything, I finally get my wife on. I was able to get a phone call through, and I'm talking to her, and at that moment, the lights go out in the Superdome.
Jeez.
I said, "Holy crap! The lights just went out at the game." She goes, "Get out of here! We're watching the game because it's on delay. You're
Right.
watching it back on
Right.
TV.
Yeah.
It's on delay." And then they see that the light on TV, like, what's going on? I'm like, I have no idea. They just stopped the game, and we're sitting through the delay with my wife on the phone, trying to tell her what was going on. It's like I don't think there's any kind of like problem. Like I don't think we're getting invaded by anything. It was just an electrical problem, and they wound up fixing it. But that was a memorable
That's
thing.
crazy. Well, I would think they're all memorable. I mean, it's a Super Bowl.
I mean, there was the one here. They had the one at that was the last one I was at. Was the one at MetLife Stadium. When you think about it, they were taking a real chance because of New York in February. Who thinks it was going to be 60 degrees that day?
Right.
So the auxiliary press area was in the lower bowl in the end zone, and you've got the 200 level above. And so I sat down, and it's hot because they put heaters in. on the seal on the below the second level,
Right.
so that the press sitting in that section would be warm. But they didn't need the heater. Now I'm sitting here, I'm all bundled up. I got a jacket, I got a sweatshirt, I got layers on, thinking that I'm going to be cold, and now I'm sweating bullets because this heater is above me, coming straight down. They finally turned everything off because they didn't need anything. And then a few hours after the game, we got hit with a snowstorm. I got home just in time.
Oh, nice. Did you see Bruce at the Super Bowl?
I was not at the one where Bruce performed.
I don't remember which one that was.
I saw.
This is a Patriots one, I think.
It was a Patriots one. I saw the halftime shows. I saw was Beyonce.
Is that where Prince came out?
No, it was just her.
Oh, okay.
I think a couple of her former partners.
Oh, the Destiny's Child.
Destiny's Child came out and performed with her. I saw with Fergie.
little Black Eyed Peas?
Black Eyed Peas. That was in Dallas. That was in Dallas. Bruno Mars was at MetLife Stadium.
Right.
And I can't remember the other ones.
Got me.
Must have been very memorable.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't Billy Joel. I would have remembered that.
Yeah.
I don't think he's done one, right?
You look a little like Billy Joel.
I get it every day.
You get every day?
Every day.
Can you sing like him too?
I think I sing better than Billy Joel.
That might be the funniest thing you ever said.
What are you laughing at?
Yeah, I was going to ask you because I saw on it's here somewhere, that on Facebook you actually quote Billy Joel.
I do, because at the end of each concert,
Right.
most of the time, if he remembers to do it, he'll tell everybody, "Have a good night, everybody. Don't take any S from anybody."
Yep.
So that's kind of like I pass that down to my
that's
kids,
cool.
like,
Yeah.
"Don't take any S from anybody." So I put that on my.
Yeah.
It's like a quote.
That is cool. That is very
and I've
cool.
seen Billy Joel in concert 20 times.
Yeah? Wow, 20 times.
20. So the 20th was last New Year's Eve at UBS Arena.
Nice.
So yeah, I got all the ticket stubs in a frame.
Oh,
in the
that's
house.
cool.
We have a Billy Joel wall in the house.
Yep.
With,
Oh, wow.
With posters from the concerts, and I got all 20 ticket stubs in a frame.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very
And
nice.
we'll see where number 21 winds up. I would like to see him in different places. I heard a rumor. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm hearing Billy at MetLife Stadium next summer.
Oh, yeah?
If you can tolerate the traffic, because I just went with my
Oh.
family to the Jet game last week,
Yeah,
and it's
that's
becoming worse and worse and worse going
Is
to
it?
games there. But I think for Billy, I
bad
might
enough.
suck it up and take the train there if I can get the
Oh,
tickets. And you never know. If it's MetLife Stadium, you might have a special appearance by some guy from New Jersey.
Frank Sinatra's dead.
Yeah.
Oh, we're getting. Nah, it's not. If a caller comes in and it's the name isn't there, then I don't answer it because usually it's not a good thing. So
Telemarketer.
telemarketer or a troll.
Bill collector.
Yeah, right. Bill collector. We're talking about Billy Joel. Yeah, I think. Oh, he's playing Mohegan Sun.
Yes, yes.
Although face value is like $500.
Mohegan Sun?
Yeah.
That's cheap because when Bruce was at Mohegan Sun, you couldn't touch a ticket for less than $750
Really?
when he was there last year.
That makes me mad.
But
Yeah.
see, the thing with Billy is usually now he'll have the really expensive ones, like the first few rows are expensive, but he likes to he'll go up and get like somebody sitting in the last row and put him in the
Yes,
first row.
yes.
But those premier tickets are pricey. But I know that for most of the residency at the Garden, like you could get like a really good lower bowl because we sat side of the stage, my family and I, a few years ago. It was like $150 to sit
that's
down
not
by
bad.
the stage, and that's generally what a lower level ticket will be, except for those
Right.
like pricey ones up front. Except for New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve they jack up the price
course.
a lot. Yeah, but Mohegan Sun would be an interesting place to go to see him.
Yeah, because it's a smallish
Right,
arena.
right.
Yeah.
See, now that the residency is over, I'm thinking now there's a chance because he plays all these stadiums now. So maybe he'll play Citi Field, maybe he'll play Yankee Stadium. I heard MetLife for next summer.
Wow.
That's got to include Bruce Springsteen.
It's-
I don't
it's-
think
it's
80,000
got to.
people at MetLife Stadium, you'd have to think that Bruce would be a part of that.
Absolutely.
Well, he put out right. He's touring next year, right? So
he's going back to
hopefully
Bruce.
Yeah.
He's going back to Europe in the spring.
So
and
hope-
then I'm assuming he's going to do it next summer.
Yeah. Okay.
He's gonna
So hopefully he'll be
continue.
around.
Yeah.
To see them together.
Yeah, I've seen Bruce a number of times too. That's a great show. It
Oh.
really is.
Unbelievably good.
Yeah, I've seen him.
And I've seen Billy and Elton John do the face-to-face.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you love to see Bruce and Billy do a concert together where each guy gets a set and they do songs together?
They did that once.
They did that years ago, very, very unheralded, and I haven't been able to find any kind of video of it or anything like that. I know they did the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame concert at the Garden where they came out and did a couple of songs together.
There was bad audience cell phone footage on YouTube for a while, but it's gone now. But there is audio. Billy, his Sirius XM channel they played it once.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have and of course I found it.
I'll
get it to you.
Yeah,
I'll get it to you.
absolutely.
I'm a big music guy myself. I have.
Well, we're going to have some fun on Sports Bash because I'm. What I generally do is you'll see that I plan out the show by segment and which songs I want coming back, and I'll give you all the links and everything like that. And we'll have good discussion about it. Yeah, so I love to indoctrinate music. Again, it's family, sports, music, and you'll hear me talk a lot about all three.
Nice.
Because I'm very proud of my family.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, your sons are in college now, right?
Well, my older son, Bradley, is at Western Connecticut State playing football.
Very nice.
My younger son, Jared, is now at MacArthur High School.
Oh,
so we had double graduations last spring. We had Bradley graduating high school and Jared graduating middle school. And my wife, Cheryl, and I are just trying to keep everything together. It's like every day is another adventure, and we've been running up to Connecticut. He plays for Western Connecticut, but they play in the MassCAC Conference, which is a Massachusetts concert, so we're up to Massachusetts. We were in New Hampshire this past weekend watching him play at Plymouth State, so that's been a lot of fun seeing him, and he's playing as a freshman.
What position does
he's a long snapper.
Wow. That's a hard position.
Well, yeah, he's good at it.
Yeah.
So we'll bring some footage in and show it on the show.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, they're 4-1. He's got
nice.
He got heavily recruited by them, and
that's great.
He loves it. Jared's a big baseball player. He's on the badminton team at MacArthur High School now, and
you just posted some badminton footage.
And he'll be on the bowling team, and he plays baseball. He plays hockey in the winter also.
Wow.
Where every day, like I said, every day is an adventure. We're always following something. My wife will joke with her friends and coworkers every weekend we're at least one sporting event, whether it's professional or watching the kids play. We are somewhere. So.
Does it get any better than that?
No,
it doesn't. I mean, and especially when Bradley had played football since he was 4 years old.
Wow.
And every time you get old, the older you get, the numbers dictate. Well, not every kid that plays Pee Wee football is going to go play in middle school.
Right.
And not every middle school kid is going to still play in high school. And certainly not every high school football player goes on to play in college. In fact, the 2023 numbers from the NCAA, only 7.5% of high school football players went on to play in college. So my son was part of that. If it was the same, I haven't seen the numbers for 2024 yet, but let's just say it was the same. So he was 7.5% of high school players that go on to play in college, but what must the number be of freshmen who actually get on the field? Because not every freshman gets a chance to play. He's been playing. He played all 5 games so far.
Wow.
So that's been amazing watching him be able to do that. So it's been fun.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Good for you.
Badminton trivia. Do you know what the shuttlecock is?
It's called a birdie also.
Oh, it's called a birdie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing you're
That's
hitting.
the thing you hit.
Right. You just wanted to say shuttlecock.
Yeah, I did. I did. I feel better now.
Oh, good.
Can I go now?
All right, something very serious we need to discuss here, Peter.
Am I in trouble?
No, not at all. Not at all. you I don't know if you still do, but I believe you've covered the Riptide too, right?
I did. I was their play-by-play announcer.
Oh.
Right.
For a couple of years. Yeah.
That had to have been rough, man.
Rough in what way?
Because they suck. You may not be able to say it. I can say it.
Did you go to games?
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
What is the Riptide?
They were indoor lacrosse. They played in the Coliseum.
Oh.
Let me tell you, because I know you also covered the Saints.
I was their radio announcer for 4 years. Yep.
And now those are good days, for the most part.
They were good days because people actually went to those games.
Well, yeah. And do you remember?
I'm going to get a Saints player to come in because I'm still friends with a bunch of them.
Miko Red Arrow.
Yeah?
Get him in here.
Gordon Purdy.
Gordon Purdy.
He's the head coach at Adelphi. We'll get him in.
Kidding.
They just won the national championship.
Oh,
Division
wow.
II.
Had no idea.
We'll get him to come in with the trophy.
All right. Oh, that would be
Wow.
fantastic. Do you remember during halftime they had the guy in the stands that would dance? That was me.
That was you.
That's me. That was me. Well, I had 2 legs back then. Now I only have 1. But
Okay.
But I had 2 legs back then.
But you can't still dance.
I did try it once. Was it a Riptide? Yeah, I think it was one of the
Yeah.
No. The Knights, is that who they had at one point during?
The Titans.
I think it was the Knights. Didn't they? In between the Saints and the Riptide.
They were the Titans.
They were the Titans?
Yeah, they only played a couple of games there. They played in the Garden, and then they went on to New Jersey.
I think it was one of those games that I tried it again. But yeah, I mean, the Saints, I did that for almost 10 years.
Yeah, they were incredible. I mean,
I love going to those games.
See this, when people ask me, how come the Riptide didn't work out? I worked for them for 4 years. I wrote for their website the first year, then COVID hit, so they missed a year. And then I was their radio announcer for 2 years, and then for their last year, this year, they didn't bring me back because they were slashing.
Yeah, there was a lot of things they didn't bring back.
I have a friend of mine who she was. I used to work for the Cosmos and the Lizards. So She was a dancer on the Cosmos. She was a dancer on the Lizards, and then she became a dancer on the Riptide. And she called me, wrote me before the last season, like they only kept like 6 dancers. They had like 20 of them.
Right. Yeah.
And they cut it down. They cut it to 8, and only 4 would be active. It would be kind of like having a
reserve.
Like you have 23 players on the Islanders and only 20 dress for a game.
Yeah.
So they had 8 dancers, but only 4 would participate for each game, and they would have to rotate the 4 dancers through all the home games. So it was really bad because they were hemorrhaging money because nobody was going to the games.
Right.
Now, because they were not good on the field, I don't think that had anything to do with it. I think the problem was there was nobody from Long Island on the team. There was like 1 or 2 years where they had like 1 player. Then they traded the 1 player that was from Long Island to Albany for a player that only had like 6 more points the year before. Why would you trade away a guy who has a chance to sell you some tickets to the game?
Yeah.
Now, why did the Saints work out? Why did they draw 10, 12,000 people a game? Because back then, the league was very regional. All the New York Saints players were from Long Island.
Right.
And and I know this because I worked for them, the players will only get 4 tickets.
Oh, wow.
4.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if they needed 25 tickets, they had to pay for it, and they could pay at a reduced rate. But that was the whole thing. Like, hey, Johnny down the block is playing at the Coliseum Saturday, and that's why they got 8 and 10 and 12,000 people. Like, there was no connection to the Riptide.
Right.
And I had high school, because I do some high school lacrosse play-by-play on streaming services, and I know a lot of the high school coaches, and they did not connect with box lacrosse. A lot of people in the Long Island lacrosse community did not go to see the Riptide because they didn't know who any of the players were.
Yeah.
What had happened was the league evolved from back when it was when the Saints were playing to where it is now. Now you have all the box players from Canada. The best players in the sport who were not playing in the league years ago are now making up most of the players on each roster. So you've got no connection between the Long Island lacrosse community and the Riptide. And there were former players that they brought back at first to help out, and they wouldn't listen to any of them. I remember being in the office. One day I came to pick up something. My son was doing a charity function, and the Riptide donated like a basket of like souvenirs and stuff like that.
Right.
So I was picking it up from the office, and everyone's like, oh, how come we can't get people to go? And I'm like, I'll tell you how you get people to go. I said, we would draw more fans if we were 0-18 with the worst team in the league, but if we were all Long Island players, more people would go to the game.
Yeah, I agree.
And if we were 18-0 with the best players in the league and winning a championship, and all these people in that office looked at me like I had 5 heads. I lived through this with the Saints.
Right. Right.
They didn't win it.
But it didn't hurt that the Saints were winning. I mean,
they
had some bad seasons too.
They didn't win championships, but they were exciting. They won, and again, it was the local kids, local players brought people out. How cool is it? Joey down the block is playing at the Coliseum on Saturday. Let's go! It was a fun atmosphere, and whatever not all of it was the Riptide's fault because they're fielding a team. They're trying to win a championship, and they're trying to draft players or bring players in, and they weren't around all week. They all flew in. They were all from Canada.
Right.
So they would fly in on Friday, have a practice Friday night, play the game on Saturday, and then they go. There was no connection to the community.
Right.
Again, they had the one player, and you can't ask him to do everything. He's got a full-time job during the week.
Sure.
The Saints were all from here. They could do appearances all over the place.
Right.
And
they would hang out at Champions after the game. And
That's right.
And anybody could sit there and talk to them about the game.
You had this unbelievable connection to the community, and the Riptide didn't. And that's why they're in Ottawa this year.
Oh, see, I didn't even know that.
Oh yeah, they moved to Ottawa. They announced they announced it in the middle of last season. I wound up going to the last game when they were saying goodbye to everybody. Like, yeah, we're going to Ottawa because they're going to play where the Ottawa Senators play, and I don't. They're now the Ottawa Black Bears.
Can I chime in here?
No.
Good, thank you.
No, please. The
Saints, all the lacrosse. I was never a big lacrosse guy, but you know what I was a big fan of was the Dragons.
I was their radio announcer for 8 years.
My son and I went to so many games. It was so popular.
It was. And it was popular without them even rolling out. Like the Islanders owned the Dragons, and we would get 8,000 or 10,000 people, and a lot of it was just Islander fans came and tried it out.
Yeah.
It was. I am telling you, with all due respect to some of the jobs I've been very lucky in 35 years of doing sports radio and doing sports in general. The 8 years I spent with the Dragons was the best job I ever had.
No kidding.
Really?
The best job, and I've said it, and they brought a team. There was another indoor football league. They had a team in Westchester a few years ago, and I got involved with them. They wound up getting a TV package on MSG, and I did their home games play-by-play. And it was great to be back involved, but it was so subpar in comparison to Dragon. They actually still owe me money. So if I ever find the owner, if you know anybody that can help me, get his checkbook out.
Wow.
But the Dragons, 8 years I did the Dragons, and I also worked for the league too. I wrote for their website. I did a radio show for the league. I called their national their championship games on their national radio broadcast.
Nice.
Just the traveling and meeting people that are still friends with me today.
Yeah.
That was incredible. And I know there's a new indoor league. They're trying to put a team in the Coliseum, but with the not knowing what the future of that building is going to be, the Coliseum management is hesitant to sign up another franchise because they don't know if the Sands Casino goes through, they're probably going to knock the Coliseum down, or they're going to downsize it to make it fit what they're going to do with the Sands.
And if I'm not mistaken, the chances are pretty good that that's what's going to happen.
Well, yeah, they have to get one of the gaming licenses, which the Sands people have said it doesn't matter. They're going to build anyway. Why would they build it if they don't get the gambling license? So
they'll pay somebody.
I miss the Dragons. I mean, I just
that
was the best job, job I ever had.
That was so exciting watching those games.
So what is that? Is that one of the more challenging parts of your job when you're like the Riptide who just sucked, or if you're just interviewing a player you don't like?
The challenging part of my job is waking up in the morning, and if I don't see my name in the obituary, I go on with I go on with my day, and then I look on my calendar. I'm like, where am I working today? Oh, I'm working at the Fan tonight. Okay, no, I got Sports Bash at 9 in the morning. Well, now it'll be 1, 2 days a week. Or I have to write that story for that blog that I work for. It's just it's. My professional and my personal life, it's a jigsaw puzzle because you have to try and fit everything in. That's the challenging part. When I actually sit down and do my work, that's the fun part. It's managing everything.
But as a massive sports fan, like for me, like I would, if someone said, we'll bring Chase Utley in here, I think I actually might say no. There must be, and you don't have to name them.
No, I will tell you. The couple of the hardest things I've ever had to do, because I'm still a fan. Like I do this for a living, but I'm still a fan. I've had people in the media who are jaded by everything, and I don't root for this team anymore. And people will say to me, "Oh, we admire you because you still are a fan." Now, when I'm working at the game, it's like I'm not when the Islanders score and I'm sitting in the press box, I'm not cheering. Now, tomorrow night I'm going with my son to the opener as a fan.
Right.
So yes, I'm going to cheer. But if I'm sitting in the press, no cheering in the press box, right? The two toughest things I've ever had to do. One was I was covering Game 6 of Islanders Capitals in the 1993 playoffs. That was the game that Dale Hunter hit Pierre Turgeon.
Yes.
Cross-checked
sure.
him from behind.
After he scored.
And Turgeon was out for
Right.
most of the playoffs, came back.
Yep.
Just a gutless, disgusting, one of the worst things I've ever seen in sports. The word, I because of covering the game and you have to cover both locker rooms,
Yeah.
I had to stand there next to Dale Hunter as he was talking to the media outside of the Capitals locker room. And with my microphone, I was working for Sports Phone. Remember Sports Phone?
Oh, sure.
That was my first job out of college.
Oh, wow.
That's a story for another day too. That was great. My first job out of college. I'm there and I'm listening to Dale Hunter. I didn't see he had scored the goal, and it was a mistake.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Bull crap, right? And I'm trying to be professional because I'm doing my job.
Right.
Inside of me, like, I want to freaking punch this guy in the face.
Yeah.
Look what you did to my star player, right?
Right.
And funny, Mick Fukuda, and Rich Pilon, who were like enforcers, rough guys on the Islanders.
Yeah.
They had this plan. They told me about it on my Islander podcast before. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this. Because in the Coliseum, before they did the renovations and the Islanders wound up going back there. So the visiting team, when they left their locker room, they had to walk down the hallway and past the Islander locker room to go out to where the bus was.
Okay.
Wherever to get into the air.
Yeah.
So the visiting team always had to walk past the Islander locker room. Mick Fukuda and Rich Pilon had this scheme. There were 3 different like rooms to the Islander locker room.
Okay.
And there was a spot where they kept like equipment and sticks and stuff like that, and there was like a stand, and they were hiding behind the stand. And their plan was to wait for Dale Hunter to walk down the hallway, and they were going to jump him.
Wow.
Al Arbor, may he God rest his soul,
Oh, yeah.
sees the two of them waiting. Guys, you guys think I'm stupid? You think I don't know what you're doing? Did you see what they did to Turn? Like, get out of here. Act professional.
Wow.
It had not been for Al Arbor, Mick Fukuda and Rich Pilon would have jumped Dale Hunter in the hallway.
Holy crap.
Yeah, that's an awesome story.
That was one thing I did not like covering. The other thing was being in the Yankee locker room after Game 7 against the Red Sox when the Yankees were up 3 games to none.
God.
And then the Red Sox, I covered all 7 games of that series, including the games at Fenway. But to be in that Yankee locker room, like that was the last place I wanted to be. Like what do you do? Like we finished doing a show. There aren't members of the media outside. Like if I'm doing a show and I do a crappy show and I fumble over something and I can't get words out of my mouth. Like the last thing I want to do is talk to somebody about it. I'll talk to my wife about it.
Right, of course.
But I'm like like I heard the show. What happened? Blah, blah, blah. Like I have a heart. When a player does something wrong, and I've covered a million games, just the worst part of the job is having to go talk to a player after something like that happened.
Right.
But you have to. I mean, and they know they have a responsibility. And I just remember it was like a funeral.
I bet.
That 7th game at Yankee Stadium. So
that was
but I again, those are two things. Jets Steeler championship game in 2010, covering that game because the Jets were a no-show in the first half, and then they came up a little short. That was a tough locker room to cover. But all in all, it's like this beats being a plumber's assistant.
Oh, absolutely.
Like doing this,
Oh, yeah.
I probably don't make as much money as a plumber's assistant, but the actual job itself is better than being a plumber's assistant.
That excuse me, I say that all the time about being in here. Just hanging out. With comedians, or I can bring anybody in. I get free reign in here, which is so cool. They don't tell me what the content should be or what I can. I mean, they don't want me promoting other comedy clubs,
right?
But that's pretty much my only restriction. I can bring anybody I want in here and talk about. And sometimes the whole experience, the journey, however you want to word it. You can't put a price tag on that.
No,
you just can't.
It's gotten me to places that I could never have dreamed of going to. I mean, like going to the Super Bowl, going to the World Series, going to Stanley Cup Finals, NBA Finals, like the things that I've covered, the things I've gotten to do play-by-play and hosting shows and doing updates. And for a good chunk of my life, it was just me. And then now to be able to share this kind of stuff with my family, that's the coolest thing. My Bradley was little and I was still doing the Dragon games. and I would bring him. He went from. I would take him. They used to practice in one of the hangars at Mitchell Field that they converted. It's now an indoor soccer place, but it was the Dragons practice facility. So Bradley was a baby, and I was taking him in the carrier to go watch practice to the point where he'll kill me if he hears this. So the Dragons are practicing, and all of a sudden, Bradley did his thing, and I had to go change his diaper, right? And so there was this counter, if you were coming in, if a youth soccer team was coming in there, they'd have to check in at this counter. So I flip the thing over, I go behind, there's a bench there or whatever, a table, and I'm changing Bradley's diaper while the Dragons are still practicing, and it stunk. It stunk to the point. Aaron Garcia, who is the Dragons quarterback, comes up, he's calling a play, and all of a sudden I look over, you see all these players, I'm like, what is that? Oh, Schwartz is changing his kid's diaper.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Wow.
Yeah, I went through a very similar thing when I took Mike to a football game once, just a couple weeks ago.
Was I there?
I was joking. I was insinuating that you shit yourself and I had to change
it. That was going to be my next question. Are we allowed to curse on the show?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. It's encouraged?
Speaking of Aaron Garcia, I work. My girlfriend runs a thrift store in Patchogue.
Uh-huh.
And about a month ago, a New York Dragons jersey was donated.
Oh, wow.
Really?
With Aaron Garcia's signature on it.
Wow. I have a bunch of... I still have all of my Dragons
and you know
stuff.
what? It's still sitting there. Nobody wants it.
How much is it?
It's $20.
Why didn't you grab it?
It's too small.
Oh.
What size is it?
It's a small.
Oh, it's a small. Yeah. It won't even fit my kids.
Yeah.
Oh, I have an Aaron
It's
Garcia
beautiful.
game used jersey hanging. I got a bunch of jerseys in my collection.
Nice.
So that I got a bunch of Dragon stuff.
I thought he was
The
awesome.
Dragons gave my wife and I an autographed helmet as our wedding gift.
Oh, that's nice.
We had a few Dragons at our wedding,
Yeah.
and they presented us with a team
That's
that was
cool.
autographed by the whole team, and we have it on display in our house.
And I think one of the reasons I love that indoor football league is I'm a big Rams fan, and
Kurt
Warner, the Iowa Barnstormers.
He came back. The Dragons were the Iowa Barnstormers.
Right, exactly.
Right. So
yeah.
the Charles Wong, may he rest in peace, the Islanders owner, bought the Iowa Barnstormers and moved them to Long Island. They became the Dragons. So there was a game where Kurt Warner was in the area for an autograph signing for a memorabilia show, and the general manager of the Dragons had the same job, was assistant coach with the Iowa Barnstormers. He was friendly with Kurt Warner, and he had Kurt Warner come to the game to wave to the crowd and whatever, at halftime. And they said, "Oh, Peter, at halftime you're going to come down from the radio booth. You're going to interview Kurt Warner on the jumbotron."
Really?
So usually to do radio, I was I would just wear a Dragons polo shirt, jeans, whatever. Nobody saw me. I was just doing the game on the radio. I had to dress in a suit and tie that day. I was on the jumbotron interviewing Kurt Warner, which was a pretty cool experience too. So
absolutely.
Again, just going back to the thing before, I've gotten to do so many things in this business. I can't complain about the couple of times where I wanted to punch somebody in the face over it.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go the other way. Have you ever had to interview somebody where you're kind of a little starstruck?
That's a great question.
Yes, I'll give you.
You weren't starstruck about Kurt. Was it after he won the Super Bowl?
It was after he won the Super Bowl. No, I mean, I at that point, it's not like it had a tremendous effect on me. It was cool to interview him, but it was not anything that I was the question was being starstruck.
Yeah.
So Wayne Gretzky comes out with a book after he's traded to the Kings. He came out with a book. And I was working at Sports Phone at the time. This was my first job.
Right.
So he's doing a book signing at Roosevelt Field.
Oh,
at
wow.
the bookstore in Roosevelt Field. So I went with my brother to go to the book, bought the books. Gretzky signs it. I read the book immediately, right? Because the next day, the guy who was doing the Islanders radio pregame show and would always see me at Islander games. Hey, listen, are you going to the skate the morning that the Kings are playing the Islanders? And I said, I probably will. Sports Phone will probably send me to go there and get some sound, whatever. And he said, if you can get Gretzky one-on-one after their morning skate, we'll play it on the Islanders pregame show. So I said, all right, well, I can't, commit to it. Like I can't like promise I'm going to get it. So the Islanders practiced first, then the Kings did, and then Kings come off the ice, or maybe the Kings practice first. Irrelevant. I go into locker room, the hallway by the Kings locker room, and Wayne Gretzky is standing there. And I went up to him. I said, "Wayne, do you have a few minutes for the Islanders, radio pregame show?" He goes, "I have to go to a power play meeting. I'll be back in about 10 minutes." All right. And I'm thinking to myself, there's no way. This is the great one, right?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
This is Wayne Gretzky. Like, he's not going to, some poor schlump radio reporter. And I'm standing there with my back up against the wall, like I'm holding up the bowels of the Nassau Coliseum. Like, with my head. I'm looking up, I'm looking at, cracks and whatever. And like, oh, I'm wasting my time. And I must have been like daydreaming in the wrong direction. All of a sudden, pat on the shoulder. All right, I'm ready. We got 5 minutes.
Wow.
And I did a one-on-one interview with Wayne Gretzky.
The fact that he came back like that.
That's incredible.
Yeah. That was, it was probably a Mount Rushmore, or at least the top 10 moment. The fact that he came back, and I lost the tape. I don't have the tape of it. I had given it to them to play on, because back then it's cassette tape.
Right, yeah.
Right? I never got it back.
Oh.
So I never got back my Wayne Gretzky interview.
So you just made that whole thing up, didn't you?
No, I didn't. I swear that happened. The one interview that I would want to do, that I would be starstruck, that I've never done, is not even a sport, is be Billy Joel.
Oh.
I've had Mike Del Giudice on the show. I became friendly with Mike Del Giudice.
I'm buddies with Mike.
Yeah, so I would love to get him in here one day when he's back on Long Island.
Would be nice.
We'll try to do that and try and make that happen. But I covered the press conference when they announced the last play at Shea.
Oh, nice.
I wound up not being. There were two. It bothers me to this day. There were two concerts.
Right.
And I was able to get tickets for one of the two. Unfortunately, I had to work at Sirius that night, and I regret to this day not taking. I should have just said the hell with it, even though it was part-time and at no vacation day. Like, I wouldn't have gotten paid for it.
Right.
I should have just taken the day off, and I could have gone with my wife to the show. It wound up not happening. But anyway, I went to the press conference when they introduced it, and after the press conference was over, you lined up for one-on-ones, right? And we're all the way on the back of the line. And they got the Entertainment Tonights and the local TV stations are all taking 5 minutes with Billy, right? They finally get to the end. You can ask him 2 questions. And I asked him 2 questions, but the one thing I would love to do is to have him for like 15, 20 minutes just to talk to him. I hope I can make that happen one day. That's the one interview. Him and Hulk Hogan. I've always wanted to talk to Hulk Hogan, but I would settle for not having Hulk. If I can get Billy Joel for 15, 20, that would be the one guy I'd like to speak to.
I spent 30 to 45 with Billy Joel in his motorcycle shop once. Just me, him, and my ex-girlfriend.
Wow.
Yeah.
We went to go visit the motorcycle shop, and I don't know if the girl was lying to us or telling the truth, but we were looking for something to do one morning. I said, let's take a ride to Oyster Bay and go see Billy's motorcycle shop, and we'll have lunch there in the area. We get to the motorcycle shop and talking to this girl working in there. Big Billy fans, we just wanted to see it. Oh, you just missed him. He was here 5 minutes ago.
Oh, really?
And my wife and I are kind of skeptical about that. Like, I'm wondering if she was like really just trying to make us feel good or feel bad or whatever it was. But maybe it was true. Maybe we did just miss him.
Well, that's exactly what happened. We went to lunch at Tabby's, which is awesome.
What a great burger they got there.
And they give you the biggest plate of fries.
I used to live in Oyster Bay, so I used to go there all the time.
Oh, and it's still worth the trip. I don't care where you live on Long Island. So we were coming out of Tabby's, and he went right past us on his motorcycle. We're like, holy shit, there he goes. So, and we weren't even going to go there, but he passed us. We're like, screw it, let's take a walk. There he was. He's parked outside the place. I come walking up. I go, I picked the right day to come up to Oyster Bay today. He's doing whatever on his motorcycle. He shot me a look. I stopped, put my hands up. I said, I won't bother you if you don't want to be bothered today. He goes, okay. So he seemed pissed. I'm like, all right, I'm going to walk away. He walks into the motorcycle shop. The guy that runs it daily, he comes to the door. He says, you guys want to come in? I swear, I did one of these. Okay. We went in, but then he locked the door after we went in. Through my girlfriend, who used to do the show with me, a lot of you guys know her, she looked at me. She goes, we're going to get beat up. Like, we didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
There were 2 other people walking around looking at bikes. Billy went and talked to them for a few minutes. They left. So now it's just us and him. And you would think you're in just a regular mechanic's garage. He's yelling. He's talking to the guy. Did you order this? And he's yelling out all these different motorcycle parts. And we got to take care of this. Remember, we got to install this. We got to change this out. I'm like, what is going on here?
This Billy Joel.
Yeah. About 20 minutes later, he finally comes walking over to us. I don't know shit about motorcycles. I don't know. I love to look at them, but I couldn't tell you a damn thing about them. He starts talking about the bikes, right? And I just said to him, Billy, I noticed you don't have a lot of Harleys in here. He just went off. He's going off about motorcycles and this and that. So I'm just, I have no idea what he's talking about. Years ago, a buddy of mine who rides bikes told me that a lot of times the muffler is right in front of you. So you're sitting on the bike, the muffler's right there at your crotch. And a lot of times, at least on Harleys, the guys that are riding in between lanes is because the mufflers need to be air-cooled. So they're trying to get a breeze to keep it from overheating. I have no idea if that meant anything or not to what Billy Joel was saying to me, but I just threw it out there. And in my head, as I'm saying it, he's either going to say, sounds good, or he's going to say, you have no idea what you're talking about, get out of here.
Yeah.
So as I'm saying it, I'm like almost bracing myself to be kicked out. He looks around me, he goes, that's an excellent point. He says, come over here, let me show you this. So now he must think I'm an expert, and I know nothing.
But then, like George Costanza being the marine biologist.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it was very similar, because then he says to me, he says, let me show you something. He gets on the floor, and he gets underneath the motorcycle. So I'm standing there, I'm like, Billy Joel's on the floor. And he looks out from under the bike, he goes, what are you doing? Come here. I'm like, okay. I'm on the ground, laying under a motorcycle, and he's pointing, he's talking. All I can think is, I'm on the ground with Billy Joel under a motorcycle. Like, I had no business being there. We eventually come up, and I tried once or twice towards the end to talk about music a little bit. He wanted no part of it. No part of it whatsoever. We're both Hicksville guys. I graduated from Hicksville.
He didn't. Well, he did later
true.
on.
He went there.
Later, he went there later on. He got us some honorary.
But we had the same music teacher. So I brought that up, so we talked about that for a few minutes. But that was, I would say, 95% of the conversation was may as well have been in French, because I have no idea what the hell we were talking about.
I literally I would just want to have for 15 minutes. I'd love to talk. Of course, you'd like to have more than that, but I've watched all these interviews that other people have done with him, and great interviews, fantastic interviews. But there's certain things that I would love to talk to him. I could, it's easy to say, and other people have said this. He's the soundtrack of my life.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, that's why he has meant so much to me.
Right.
Because you remember the time of your life when Stormfront came out. You remember my favorite Billy Joel album is Nylon Curtain.
Nice, mine too.
Right. So, you remember what your life was like. I was at the Billy Joel Live from Long Island. That was at Nassau Coliseum. That was the HBO.
The famous
that was my first time.
VHS.
That was my first of 20 Billy Joel concerts.
Yep.
So, you remember parts of your life when his music would come out. And it's just so cool because, my wife and I did a good job as parents when you have your kids who obviously did not grow up during his heyday,
right?
But they can now sing the songs.
Right.
We've been to 2 Billy Joel concerts, and they're legitimately excited. They were as excited as me and my wife were for the new song that come out. A few
turn the
months
lights
ago.
back on. Yeah.
I remember I was driving my younger son to middle school, and we timed it. I said, don't take the bus, because he had to go in early because he had some preschool, before school activity. We timed the drive because they were going to debut the song on Billy's YouTube page right at 8 o'clock, whatever it was.
Right.
And we timed the drive. My wife was listening at home because she works from home. So we were timing the drive that we can listen to the whole song.
Wow.
And he was like, Dad, that was pretty cool. Within a couple of days, I had my 2 kids were just singing the songs to the new Turn the Lights Back On. And it was great because we've been to 2 concerts. We'd love to go again. I would love to have. I'd love to talk to him.
What were the 2 questions you got to ask him?
I don't remember because
you had to stay generic or something.
I had to I'm sure one of them was oh, how thrilled are you to be
right.
I know. So obviously he loved the Beatles.
Yeah.
And when Paul McCartney helped him close Shea Stadium.
There it is.
So one of the questions was, how excited are you to close Shea after the Beatles opened it? That was one question. And
it's a good question.
Yeah, and then I maybe the second question was, have you thought about what the playlist would be? And that must have been what the two questions.
That documentary, The Last Play at Shea, one of the best music documentaries I think I've ever seen.
My wife and I went to the premiere at Citi Field because they premiered it on the big screen at Citi Field.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was fantastic. Loved it.
I love the story of McCartney getting to New York.
Well, right, and then from JFK to City,
the police escort.
11 minutes because you got a police escort.
How
11
about
minutes.
the guy? I think he recently passed away. The head of the ground.
Pete Flynn.
Yeah. I think he recently
did.
passed away.
Yeah.
He drove the Beatles onto the field in '64 for the concert.
Yeah.
Right.
He drove Paul McCartney onto
Right.
behind and came up the stage.
Yeah, that was very cool. And as a Met fan, I just love that whole.
You're going to finish it off today?
Yes, they're finishing it off today without it.
I
don't
think
know.
so too.
I don't know.
I'd be shocked if Phillies won today.
Yeah,
I'd be surprised.
They came off that win the other day, and then they were like lifeless last night. You'd think they'd have some energy coming off the win. I mean, I know there was a day between, but but they was nothing.
I said this on the show this morning. There's just when you see these teams get on this run where it's completely out of nowhere, and it's magical, and it captivates the fan base. Like look, the Mets have had sellouts at Citi Field before. They went to the World Series in 2015, and again, not being there yesterday, but watching it on TV, you could just feel the excitement at Citi Field yesterday. And I remember premising this because I'm a Yankee fan,
right?
And I said this on the show this morning. I'm like, this is going to sound like I'm knocking the Mets, and I'm not. This is not a knock on the Mets. But when you don't go to the playoffs every year, when you're not used to having that kind of
Met
success.
fans are used to losing.
Listen, Jet fan, been there, done that, got the postcard over and over and over and over again. But when you're not in the hunt every single year, and you get on this run, and think about it. Yesterday was the first Met home game since the middle of September because they closed the season on the road. Think about everything the Mets have done here.
Right.
Going to Atlanta for the doubleheader the day after the season ended for everybody else.
Right.
And Lindor hitting the home run, and then going to Milwaukee and basically being 5 feet underground when Alonso hits the home run.
Right.
And then the other day, Saturday was great because we went to New Hampshire to go see Bradley play football at Plymouth State. On the way home, we stopped for lunch, and then we had our 6-hour drive home was the Mets on the radio and then the Yankee game on the radio.
Oh, nice.
All on the way home.
That's cool.
And you hear them struggle, and then they had that big 8th inning.
Right.
And then, just to see the different progressions of this team, and it captivates a fan base. And that's why I think Citi Field was so electric yesterday.
I agree 100%.
And I would expect the same thing today.
Yes.
I would expect 100%.
More so,
right.
yeah.
And Hernandez drew out the first pitch.
Yeah, and I think
that sets a tone right there.
Today is Daniel Murphy.
Yes.
Former Long Island Duck great.
That's right.
That's right, yeah.
Let me ask you, something. And I talked about it yesterday. I've been talking about it with some friends. When the Mets were in Philly, I think it was, Sunday's loss. There was something happened that really bugged me. And I don't think... All right, so you get people that don't know New York well. And I'm not just talking sports, just anything.
Right.
Like New York has this, New York is this scary place and the people are tough.
Yeah.
And But in Philly the other day, there was a play in left field. Whoever was batting for Philadelphia, I forget. But it was kind of like a bloop. So Nimmo's coming in, and I think it was Vientos is coming back from third base, and they didn't collide, but their feet hit, and Nimmo went down.
They got tangled up.
Yeah, very slightly, but it was enough that when Nimmo got back up, he couldn't put full pressure on it. I believe it was his left foot, so it took him a minute, right? And he's standing, he's kind of bent over. The trainer comes out. The Philly fans start booing. And
Philly fans are horrible.
I can honestly say, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't recall a single New York sport where I've seen that happen in New York.
No.
New York fans will not boo if somebody gets hurt. They'll clap when you get up, regardless of what team you're on.
100%.
Even in Boston.
Yeah, Philly is an interesting sports town, And I think you see that when it's the Phillies and when it's the Eagles. I think those two fan bases are really like in your face.
Oh yeah.
It's a fun atmosphere when you're down there.
I've never been to a Sixers game there, so I don't know.
Right.
Remember that Knick fans took over the Sixers arena in the playoffs last year. But I will say this: I don't think that that's the case with the Flyers fans there. And I only have I've been to a couple Islanders Flyers games in Philadelphia. I've worn my Islander jersey there. I've never had anything bad said to me at Flyer games. In fact, a few years ago, my brother-in-law, my wife's brother, him and his family, they live in Philadelphia. We were going there for Thanksgiving a few years ago. I look at the schedule because I have to see what else is going on in Philadelphia.
Sure.
Turns out the day after Thanksgiving, that Friday, the Islanders are playing the Flyers at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Nice.
My younger son, Jared's really little. He's not that into sports just yet. I said to my wife, if I can get tickets, can I go take Bradley to the game? Because they were talking about the day after Thanksgiving, we're going to take all the kids to the playground. And Bradley's not going to want to do that. And I don't want to do that. So like the Islanders playing the Flyers in Philly. So let's see if you can go. I got tickets on StubHub. This was before I knew Vinny.
I was about to say it.
It was before I knew Vinny. Vinny, I apologize. I bought the tickets on StubHub, but I did not know anything about Ticket Bash yet. This is PV, before Vinny. Okay? Let's just make that clear.
Yep,
this is
smart
like
move.
5-6 years, more than that. Because Tavares was still on the Islanders.
Oh, okay.
So we get the tickets. Now, my father-in-law at Thanksgiving dinner finds out that, because I looked on the phone, the tickets went down to like $30 a ticket. I got the tickets. He goes, "You're going to the game in Philadelphia?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's me and Bradley going to go to the Islanders-Flyers game." And he starts screaming at me. "How could you take my grandson to that place with the disgusting Philadelphia fans?" And because he knows what he hears from the Met Phillies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Look, I've been to Islander Flyer games before. It's not going to be that bad." Now Bradley's starting to get a little concerned. And I'm like, "Listen, I'm going to tell you something right now. We're going to go. We've got our Islander jerseys like that. Here's the worst thing that's going to happen. We'll be walking around the building and somebody will come up to you and say, 'Hey, Islanders suck.' That's the worst thing that's going to happen. Can you handle that?" "Yeah, Dad, I can handle that. No problem." We took the train because he lived in a suburb, my brother-in-law. We go, we get in, we're having a good time, got a Philly pretzel and everything like that. All is good. After the first period, I think the Islanders were losing 1-0 after the first period. So we take a walk around the concourse, see the arena. I had been there before. Bradley was little. We went to I called Dragons games in that same building. We're walking around the concourse, the upper concourse, and sure enough, some Flyer fan walks past Bradley and yells, "Hey, buddy, Islanders suck," right? My son, and this is why I was like, this is like the proud dad moment and everything like that. I knew like I did the right thing, and my wife and I have just done so many good things for our kids, right? Bradley turns around to the guy and goes, "Hey, buddy, 1980.
Wow.
I said, "Come here, bring it in to Dad."
That's my boy.
That is my son. And that was the worst thing that happened. So I was 100% correct. So I don't think Flyer fans should be grouped in with the Phillies and the Eagles fans. I don't know about the Sixers.
I mean, even Met Yankee games. I mean, some of my best memories of going to baseball games were Met Yankee games because you picking on each other like crazy for the whole game, and then when the game's over, you shake hands and say, "Hey, that was fun, buddy. Thanks a lot," and you go your separate ways.
My wife and I, my wife's a Met. My wife and kids are Met fans.
Yeah.
So it's before kids. 2002, where I had gotten tickets for the Saturday games because it was 2 3-game series. We got the Saturday games for Yankee Stadium and Shea Stadium. The Shea Stadium game starts and gets rained out.
Okay.
We find out as we're walking out of Shea, they reschedule that game for a couple of weeks later at night in the middle of the series in the Bronx. So you had Yankees Mets in the Bronx in the afternoon that we did have tickets for.
Right.
And then the Mets Yankees game at Shea that night. So you had a day-night doubleheader. It's happened a few times.
Yes.
A day-night doubleheader in 2 different stadiums,
the
right?
buses go, yeah.
So we're walking out, and I said to Cheryl, I'm like, if we can get rid of tickets to one of the games. She goes, "Have you been to one of those day-night doubleheaders before?" I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "I want to go too." I'm like, I know, I love her for some reason, right? Like, you know, she loves sports, right? So I'm like, all right, so we went to both. So this is what we did. We had 4 tickets for the game at Shea because my in-laws were with us. We only had 2 for the game at Yankee Stadium. So what we did was my in-laws drop us off at the Long Island Railroad. We take the railroad into Manhattan, right? And then we go down to South Street Seaport. We took the boat from South Street Seaport to Yankee Stadium, right?
Wow.
I had my home Yankee jersey on. She had her away Mets jersey on.
Yeah.
We then, Yankees win. The Yankees win. We take the boat back to South Street Seaport. We go, there's like a mall in South Street Seaport. We go when we change. She puts her home Mets. I put my away Yankees on. We take the 7 train up to Shea Stadium for the night game.
Wow.
Where my in-laws use my Mets media parking pass to park the car there. And we watch the game. Alfonso Soriano and Derek Jeter lead off with back-to-back home runs. I'm like, my poor wife, but I don't care. Like, Yankees are winning, right? Yankees win again. And we had the day-night doubleheader, and that's how we got around to both games.
That's
planes,
cool.
Planes, trains, and automobiles.
What a day.
That's a fun freaking day right there. Wow. Yeah. It's and it's stuff like that, you know, the bonding memories. Like, it's just, it's great, man. It's great.
And again, like I said, I've been in this business now for 35 years, and for a good chunk of it, it was just me, like, you know, going to games every day and covering games, whatever station I was working for, and traveling and stuff like that. And like now, it's like, you know, I get to share a lot, not all of it, because, you know, some things are still work. It's not, sometimes it's just not bring your child or wife to work day, but there's a lot of things that, you know, I get to share with my family.
More than, like you said, more than probably a plumber would, or you know, a lot of
beats being a plumber's assistant.
Yeah, but even still, like they're not bringing their kids to work.
My kids have always gotten their balls busted in school because like they'll post on Instagram or whatever the hell it is, like, oh, I'm here, and like, you're not really there,
right?
Like, you know, like we've been in like the Islanders owner's box to watch a game, and they'll post it. You're crazy. There's no way you were ever there. Like, they don't believe any of it. I'm like, yeah, because they're jealous because they don't get to do that.
Well, they're the kids at school with the cool dad right there. Like, all those kids want their dad to be you. All right, we got about 15 minutes left. We're here talking to Peter Schwartz. Sports Bash coming to Gov's Comedy Club podcast starting next Thursday with Peter and Vinny tickets. And I'm sorry, what's the
WizKid?
WizKid.
Yeah, so Vinny's going to make some cameo appearances whenever he can break away from selling tickets. He's gonna be part of the show. And that was really when we launched the show over a year ago at LI News Radio. We were introduced by a mutual acquaintance, Kenny Zor, who works for the Marty Lyons Foundation. Okay, and that's really how we came together. And, you know, we were knocking around. We went out to lunch one day, and we were knocking around some ideas on how to work together on something. And he was already doing some work with LI News Radio when it came to, you know, Ticket Bash stuff. So we came up with the idea of doing a radio show together. And, you know, most of the show would be about sports, but we'd also talk about, you know, stuff going on in tickets. And we've had, as much as we've had great guests on the show and great sports conversations, like some of the best conversations we have and we will continue to have are things that go on with tickets, like whether it was the Taylor Swift ticket fiasco,
right,
or you know tickets going on sale to Met playoff games. Like, what's the best way to, like, we would have these. Ticketmaster was just recent. We had a whole conversation about it, and this gets Vinny really steaming as a ticket broker, because when Ticketmaster pulls this nonsense like they did, a concert just went on sale a few weeks ago, and all of a sudden, Ticketmaster's got problems with their server, and the pre-sale didn't go through.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's because they had people were pulling the tickets and putting them right on the Ticketmaster, secondary market, and that burns Vinny to no end. So we did that. You know, we put the show together. And then we took it to a daily show, and WizKid we brought on, and he does. He's done a segment called This Day in Sports History. Right. We also have this thing called Stump the Wiz. I know you got the graphic for it.
Yep.
We usually did it on Wednesdays on the show. We're going to do it on the Thursday show.
Okay.
So we're going to do Tuesday. Wiz will be with me on Thursdays, and he'll do like This Week in Sports History now.
Nice.
And instead of This Day, because we're going to be on the 2 days, he'll be with us one. And we do Stump the Wiz. And what we do is we ask people to send in their best sports trivia. He is so brilliant when it comes. Like, I think I know a lot about sports history. This guy is an encyclopedia of sports history.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So what we do is we ask people to send in their best sports trivia question to the Sports Bash Media, X/Twitter. What do you still call it Twitter? X, Twitter, whatever that. So or Instagram or our Facebook page, whatever it is. Sports Bash Media has all three. So if we pick your question, we give them 2 minutes on the clock. We're going to send you the link because I found a YouTube link for a 2-minute clock that's got the Jeopardy music attached to it. Right?
Yeah.
So we do that. We get it up on the clock. We give him 2 minutes to answer the question. If he gets the answer correct, it's great. If the contestant stumps him, we give them 2 tickets to a game.
Oh, nice.
And Vinny will tell, it'll be courtesy of Ticket Bash.
Yeah, right.
We'll pick a game that and we'll say, 2 tickets to the Islander home opener, or 2 tickets to the Knicks, or whatever Vinny feels like parting with on ticketbash.com.
Yeah.
And so we've had some really good questions that came in, and a couple of weeks ago, he got it in 9 seconds.
Oh my goodness!
He got the answer in 9 seconds. Now
crazy.
I thought he'd get it, but I didn't think it would be that easy.
Right.
Got it in 9 seconds. We had a disputed question last week because we had somebody send in a question. It was direct, and they sent the screenshot directly off of this website of sports trivia questions. It turns out Vinny was right, and the question was wrong.
Oh wow!
But again, you're at the if you find a question on the internet, you think it's real.
Sure.
So we're not counting that in his record, and he's got a winning percentage.
Wow, that's
so
crazy.
again.
That's
so for people who are watching and listening, if you want a chance to win, next Thursday when we launch the show, because that'll be on the first show, Stump the Weasel debut here at Governor's next Thursday. You send into the Sports Bash Media X/Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, and get a question that you think this Brainiac is not going to get. Yeah. And if you stump him, you get 2 tickets to what should be a great event somewhere.
Next Thursday at 1 o'clock. Yeah, that's going to be great.
I can't wait. Like I said, we're very excited to bring the show here. We're going to have a lot of fun. Like I said, in my life, I'm passionate about 3 things: my family and friends, sports, and music. And I like to incorporate all 3 of them into the show. And we're going to have a blast. We're going to have great guests, whether they're in studio, over the phone, or on Zoom.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun hour that we hope people will latch onto and connect and be part of.
All right. So we got just a little under 10 minutes. There is something that I need to bring up to both of you, because I think you could both help me out with this. As topical and current as this show is, there's a problem I have with the movie The Natural.
Oh,
this
my favorite movie.
I love this movie. It's only, only 40 years later, but
you must have ESPN or something that you can read things that
he's
brought up about in the hour and a half I've been sitting there. He's brought up about 10 things and they all resonate with me.
Oh my God,
that's my job, man. That's what I do here.
It's one of my favorite movies as well.
All right, so here's the deal.
By the way, before you give the story,
sure.
I went to college in Buffalo. I went to Buffalo State.
Yeah.
Before they built their new baseball stadium for the minor league team, I went to games in War Memorial Stadium where the Bisons played. That's where The Natural was filmed.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Wow. I didn't know that. Okay.
I went to games in that stadium.
Oh, wow. That's cool. That's very cool. So I watched the movie about 2 weeks ago. First time
ever?
No. I've always loved this movie, but it was the first
time.
I watch it
every time it's on.
Yeah. Well, I actually found it on Amazon, Netflix, whatever it was. First time in years that I think I watched it from beginning to end, full, without getting up, without pausing and coming back 2 days later. Boom. So, all right, so you can probably put some light on this for me. So it's the end of the movie. He, came out from the hospital. His gut, he's bleeding right here.
Side is bleeding. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's up at bat.
His hands are the wrong way. He was lefty.
Roy Hobbs is a left. I have the jersey. I'm going to wear it.
Really?
I have my wife bought it for me for a Hanukkah gift.
That is fantastic.
Wow. I just got to get the hat.
That is fantastic.
And the jersey didn't come with the lightning bolt on it. We found it on eBay.
Oh, geez.
Came and my wife put it on the jersey. So
do you have a Wonder Boy bat too? That's next.
That I don't. I just need the hat.
So go ahead. He was hit.
So he I believe the first pitch swung and missed.
Yeah.
And then actually, so he had the count was 2-1. okay? The manager from the other team comes out and removes the pitcher. They change
Yes.
They change pitchers right in the
In the
middle
middle of the at bat, yeah.
Yeah.
2-1. He then swings at the next pitch, which makes it 2-2.
2-2.
Or so I would think. He then swings and misses a pitch. That should be strike 3. But he's still up. Ball comes in, so now it's 3-2, and then boom, he hits a home run. I'm telling you, go back.
Remember, he hits that
Well,
foul
he hits the
ball
foul
down that breaks the bat.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm telling you,
Are
the
you
count
sure?
is. I'm telling you,
Now I got to go home and watch it after the show.
I rewound and watched it again.
Because
that
there's
scene.
obviously there's differences between the book. Did you ever read the book?
No.
I had a speech class in college, and I read the book. I had to read an excerpt from the book. The book, a little different.
Oh, is it?
A little
Yeah.
different. Yeah, Bernard Malamud wrote the book, so I've read the book. The book's got a little different ending. But,
Oh, wow.
just
That's interesting.
Not a tease, but
Yeah. But it's 2-1, and I'm telling you, then he hits a foul ball, misses, and then hits the foul
pick me
ball.
out a winner, Bobby.
Right.
Pick me
The
out a
bat
winner,
cracked.
Bobby,
Right.
yeah.
I'm telling you. Now, so that was my question. So I don't know, were the rules different during that genre, during that time period?
No.
Or the movie is
No.
kind of like has some fantasy elements to it, so maybe
It
they.
does.
Well, there are, but I don't remember. I don't remember that being the. I now have to go back and
Yeah,
watch it.
you have to check it out. And now, all right, so that, and then also,
I'm gonna Google it.
all right, another movie which I have a feeling these are all baseball movies because I'm a baseball fanatic.
Mm-hmm.
I am not like this with any other sport. I'm just a baseball fanatic, but A League of Their Own.
I love that movie.
Love that movie too.
Come on.
Now the last play when the sister got traded and now she's coming in for the play at home plate.
yeah.
Gina
Yeah.
Davis is there.
Yeah.
The play at the plate. She tags her sister. Then she falls. Her hand hits the ground and the ball goes flying. The umpire calls safe. She made the play. The ball didn't come out of her hand until after her hand hits the ground. That's an out, man. That's an out.
See, that one has never resonated with me. Because I always could like she didn't complete the play. Like she's falling backwards and the ball comes out. It's different than the transfer. It's different than the transfer because this happened in the game yesterday.
Yes, it did.
This happened in the game.
And that
in
was
Met
that
game
was the right
yesterday.
call, by the way. That was a
the
transfer.
right call.
Right.
So if you catch the ball and then you go to transfer, it's still an out. The question now is: did Gina Davis complete the play?
Right.
Yeah. What she?
More homework for next week.
I got the Roy Hobbs right here.
I have a busy enough week as it is, and now you've got me watching movies again.
I can wait. It's okay. It's all right. You can take your time with this.
Obviously, more people have caught on to this.
Is that seriously? I have not looked it up.
It came up right away. No, Roy Hobbs does not get more than 3 strikes in the '84 film The Natural. Strike 1. Hobbs takes a strike on the first pitch. He doesn't swing.
Oh, okay. All right. But still a strike. Okay.
Next pitch, Hobbs takes a ball.
Okay.
The next pitch, foul. The next pitch is a foul into the glass. Oh, when it went to the
It hit
Robert Duvall.
Yeah.
Right. Next one is swing and miss. Hobbs swings and misses, resulting in strike 3.
That's strike 3.
Strike 3. However, some say that the swing and miss sequence should have been edited to come before the foul, so the Hobbs would have struck out. So you're right. You caught on.
Yep.
I had never noticed that. And like I said, we're topical on this show. We talk about movies that are 40 years old. But it was the first time I noticed it. It was the first time I noticed it.
It said on Quora, did the movie The Natural make a mistake, accidentally striking out Roy Hobbs at the end of the film? Yes.
Yeah.
He struck out.
Then I'll give you the spoiler of the book.
Okay.
Because Roy Hobbs strikes out at the end of the book.
He does.
Oh, wow.
He does, yeah.
Wow.
I had no idea. The same's with Forrest Gump. The book, like, he's down on his luck. All these horrible things happen to him. Like, in the movie, he becomes rich, but no, same thing.
Do we have a minute?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Remember the movie Miracle about the 1980 U.S. Olympic hockey team?
Oh, sure, yeah.
I mean, just one of the great sports events ever in my lifetime.
Oh,
yeah.
So I'm working for ESPN Radio when that movie comes out.
Okay.
And my wife and I go to the movie. And she knows how I felt about that 1980 Olympic team. She has a thing of Kleenex in her pocketbook or purse, whatever she brought with her. because she knows that I'm going to get emotional at this. Just like when Bradley got into his first college game, she was ready for that because she knew I was going to break down. So we're watching the movie in the theater, and there's the scene where Herb Brooks has the team after one of those games doing the laps, the back and forth, and forth.
Yeah.
And he keeps asking the question, "Who do you play for?" And who do you play for? What's your name? So finally, they're going back and forth. The arena guy turns the lights off in the building. They're trying to get Herb to stop. He keeps blowing the whistle. They're skating. Guys are throwing up on the ice and everything.
Right.
Finally, Mike Ruzioni gets up. He goes, "Mike Ruzioni!" I go, "Who do you play for?" "I play for the United States of America." I start bawling in the movie theater.
Yeah.
My wife hands me the tissue, whatever. I go to ESPN is celebrating their 25th anniversary. They got this big gala at the ESPN zone in Times Square that's not in business anymore. I get sent there by ESPN Radio. I'm on the red carpet. All these people are walking in to ESPN zone. In comes Mike Ruzioni. Oh, this is fantastic. Again, it's one of the moments you'll always remember in this business.
Sure.
And I'm talking to him about the Olympics and all that stuff. And I said, I just saw the movie with my wife, and I have to ask you about, when Herb made you guys skate back and forth. He goes, "Well, that never happened." Oh, son of a bitch.
What?
I cried my eyes out in the theater. You got up and said, "United States of America." I'm like, "Mike, I was crying. My wife handed me a pack of Kleenex."
Oh, my goodness.
He goes, "It never happened." Could you believe?
Oh my!
Now I know that they take liberties,
Creative liberties.
do, yes.
Yeah, they take liberties with these, but I was crushed. I wasted a good cry on something that never happened.
Right. Oh my God.
That is something.
That's quite.
Oh, well, all right. With that, I go on all day. This was a blast, Peter.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Peter Schwartz. Starting next Thursday, October 17th, Sports Bash, right here every Tuesday and Thursday at 1 p.m. on Gov's Comedy Club Podcast. Looking forward to that. What's that?
Presented by Ticketbash.com.
Yeah, I just want to look him up.
Oh, okay.
Is that all right? I'm sorry.
You don't want
I
to
can
done
give you
yet,
a
right?
discount code too that we'll use sometime.
You see, Vinny is the best, and he does. He there's nothing he can't get you.
Oh yeah,
he's great.
Ticket Bash.
Yeah, he's a good man. So Ticket Bash, Sports Bash next Thursday, the 17th at 1 p.m. right here on Gov's Comedy Club Podcast. Looking forward to that a lot. This was a lot of fun.
I had a blast.
Peter Schwartz,
Thank you.
Michael
We can't
Kaplan,
wait.
And
I
you'll
have
be
no
back.
earthly idea why I'm here.
I say that every week. No, always fun with you, pal, and good to see you because it's been a couple of weeks since.
3 weweeks.
It's been 3 weeks. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to tell people that I sat with Billy Joel for an hour and a half.
Oh, nice.
All right, so it is time for us to get out of here. Let's see. So, let's see what's going on. So today is Wednesday. Circling the Drain tonight at 7 p.m. And then Coffee with the Dog tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. And
When's
then
Hershey in?
Hershey is here Tuesday nights at 9.
Tuesdays at 9. Yeah, I've been on the show a couple times.
Yeah. Is he a pain in your ass or what?
His son and my son played in the same flag football league.
Okay.
My son aged out; he's now coaching. But that's how I first met him. He kind of intruded on a conversation that my wife was
Shocker.
having. My wife was having a conversation with somebody, and I was trying to watch the game, and it's somehow what I did for a living came up in conversation, and he was listening in. Oh, I listen to FAN all the time. I like this, and then my wife was like, yeah, and Peter's going to be going to this game, whatever, and he goes, oh my God, is that Peter Schwartz?
Yeah,
and that's how we met. So.
Happy New Year, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much. Lashana Tova to everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mark Hirschman. Also,
sorry I brought him up. That's a sore subject.
Yeah, it's. Yeah. But you also. So I looked on Facebook. You're also friends with Rich Lopos. Do you know Rich?
I am. Yeah, from Nassau County PAL.
Yeah, I am. You were looking at the Nassau County PAL Special Needs Unit president.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
my son Jared just played the high school level baseball over the summer for Nassau County PAL.
Oh, okay.
Had a blast. They do a great job with
They
that.
really do a great job.
Yeah.
And, yeah, Rich is
Rich
good
is the
people.
GOAT. We'll have him on the show one day.
Oh, all right. That'll be fun. I love picking on him. I don't know why. And then Rob Linder.
Yeah.
You know who that is or no? He's also a mutual friend that we have on Facebook.
Yes, because he's in the radio business as well. I used to work with him. He worked at, didn't he work? No, so we're talking about the same person?
I
Ted
don't
Linder
think so.
or Rob Linder?
Rob Linder.
I think we went to high school. Did he go to East Meadow High School?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's an East Meadow High School guy.
Oh, all right. So you know Jim Madden and all those guys?
I don't know Jim
Oh,
Madden.
you don't know Jim Madden. All right, never mind. But yeah, Rob
Linder was at East Meadow High School.
Yes,
guy. Yeah,
yes,
that's
he
why
is.
I'm friends with him on Facebook.
There's
two Linders I know. I couldn't resonate which one it was.
Yeah, Rob is a close friend of mine for probably coming up on 30 years.
It's very scary that we know a lot of the same people.
We do, which I would not brag about that if I were you. But, all right. So yeah, circling the drain tonight at 7. Coffee with the dog tomorrow at 11 at 9, and then I'm back here tomorrow at 11 with Frank and a musical guest who I don't remember who it is right now.
We can ask Billy Joel to play.
Yeah, we do. Well, you do sing a little bit, and then of course
You never heard me sing.
I've heard you sing, haven't I?
Years ago. But
all right. So
but it was a mock sing.
When I try to sing, my wife said there's a reason why you talk on the radio.
I don't even bother. Even I
Can I
can
give
tell you
a
it's
quick
bad.
story?
What? I'm sorry. What?
Can I give Peter a quick story about Billy Joel?
Sure.
Yeah.
So I get it so often. So my girlfriend, believe it or not, she's not a Billy Joel fan for a lot of reasons. So I said to her, I get it so often, I'm gonna start messing with people. So I was at Stop and Shop. I'm in the checkout line. Guy in back of me. But yeah, ever tell you like Billy Joel? I said. So I'm in Medford, and I said I have to be honest with you, sir. I said the grocery stores in Sag Harbor. I'd rather come all the way out here to Medford. So now I'm kind of being like a dick. So he looks at me like, what? So now the cashier's looking at me because she hears the conversation, and there was a special needs girl bagging. And so I'm paying for my things, and the guy I see the guy just staring at me because I had a baseball hat on. I get it more when I have a baseball hat on.
Yeah.
So I look at him and I just go like this, and I'm putting my pen in the thing. I said, "Bottle of red, bottle of wine." So it was loud enough. He looked at me like. The cashier's looked at me. She goes.
I do get that when my wife and I are shopping, we go places, get games and stuff like that. People recognize me from Boomer and Geo. And
I bet. Sure.
To the point where sometimes it becomes like downright embarrassing. We were in ShopRite one morning. It's my wife and I shopping because we leave the kids home beating the crap out of each other playing Xbox. And we're coming around one of the aisles, and this guy goes, "Those guys better stop busting your balls every morning when you're on with them."
Oh, that's
And
great.
my wife goes, "In the supermarket too?"
Yeah.
It's like one thing to get this at the Islander game or the Met game or whatever it is. Like in the supermarket. Sorry.
I had a dear friend of mine who's a musician in England. I talk about him all the time. I play his music in here all the time. His name is Elio Pace. He does a Billy Joel show in England. He's a little bit of a name in England, and he just played back in April. He played the London Palladium. He's got all sorts of stuff going on. He's been on the show a million times. So one of his trips here, he came into the studio and we had a fun show, and I took him to Zorn's, for some chicken for some lunch.
Yes.
I love Zorn's. So we're sitting there talking, and we're talking about Billy Joel. We're talking about what he's got. Elio himself has coming up in England, and we're talking all sorts of music in his career. A guy comes walking over. He says, "Excuse me, folks." He says, "I don't mean to bother you," he says, "but I couldn't help but hearing your conversation." Right? So I thought at that point he was going to say, "Where can I find your music, or can I get an autograph, something?" He goes, "I couldn't help but hear you guys talking." And he looks at me, and it's pertinent to something you said before. He looks at me. He goes, "Are you Mike Del Judas?" So of course, me being me, I went, "Yeah, I am." He's, "Oh my God, I've seen your shows." He gets up. He gets me. He says, "Can we take some pictures?" I prayed and prayed. At that time, Mike and I we've kind of lost touch, but we were very close friends for a while, and this was during that time. I prayed that this guy was going to post these photos. Met Mike Del Judas today. What a nice guy! And then posted on Facebook, hoping that Mike would see it. Oh, what the fucking Walker, But I never saw these pictures posted anywhere. Never telling the guy.
Yeah.
Never telling. That guy walked out of Zorn's thinking he just hung out with Mike Judas. I was so proud of myself for being a dick to this guy. And I still hope that these pictures surface someday. All right. So don't forget, come to the club this weekend. Let's see. Who's playing the club this weekend? It's just some of the names you'll see on the governor's stage this weekend. Jamie LaSalle is here tomorrow night. Tom Cotter is here this weekend. He's great. Our pal Sean Brown will be in the Giggle Room. He's got the Mad Funny Long Island Comedy Festival. That's tomorrow night, Friday night, and Sunday night. Oscar Calazos is playing the club this weekend. Chris Barnes. Samantha Ramsdell is out at McGuire's. She's fantastic. Justin Silver, another great comedian. And don't forget, Gov's Comedy Club podcast presents Clash of the Boroughs, Staten Island and Astoria. Mike Pachetti and friends. Headliner is Greg Criticos. Featuring Johnny McDonald, Sean Kearns, Courtney Ortera, and Andrew Farella. And don't forget Knockem Dead Comedy. We're doing one of our murder mysteries out at McGuire's in December. Go to govs.com and make your reservations for all these great shows. Go to knockemdeadcomedy.com to see our full schedule and what we got going on. And, how information on how you can hire us for your corporate event, your private party, your fundraiser, whatever you got going on. And speaking of Elio, if anybody's in the London area, in November, Elio's doing a bunch of concerts. Go to eliopace.com. And last but not least, December 27th at Westbury Music Fair, my good pal David Clark is doing a Billy Joel Elton John show, face-to-face show. Billy Joel with Bill Connors as Elton John and David Clark handling the Billy Joel section. All right, and that's it. That covers it. Again, Peter Schwartz next week. In this room next Thursday at 1.
Thank you.
And
Look forward to it.
See you next week.
See you next week.
All right. That's it. Everybody have a great rest of your Thursday and Wednesday. Why do I keep saying Thursday?
I don't know.
I don't know what that's about. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and we'll see you guys later. Thanks.